All right.
Mm.
Okay, so at this point, I think I have done what I can do. We have come to a place where the essence is maximal,
Mm.
and the nature of the enigma, as far as I can tell, is transforming this almost into a permanent riot, a permanent state,
Oh,
right? That permanently kettled. The labyrinth will never change. And the this is I'm going to look and say, is this what that's this is the block black, whatever it was called. Right, I get it
yeah.
backwards, right?
Yeah.
Um and so but they are being transformed into their most extreme form as well. So
Mm.
we are here in the pit of rage, confusion, revenge.
Yeah, so basically they want to create a never-ending loop of violence and pain. Okay.
Right. Or, the unbidden is probably completely confused. They almost always are. Right.
Yeah,
We have no idea.
true.
And in fact, I'm a little worried. I mean, is this is this the unbidden? Is it this guy? I mean, essence and
Mm.
flesh is right here. It's not a shadow. It's not just a person affected by the enigma. I mean, this could be it.
Could be. We must investigate further.
And remember, the enigma's center is not the same as the unbidden. The unbidden can wander
Yes.
around all over the place. So I suspect this may be our target.
Mm.
Or at least
Yeah, we must.
we have to, because binding the unbidden is one thing, repairing the enigma is another.
Mine is another
Right.
one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if this is the unbidden, then we need to get on this now. In fact,
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it is.
Yeah, we must act quickly so that then we can man the Enigma.
Yeah.
Otherwise, this infinite loop will continue
Yeah.
over and over again.
Yeah. So do you guys
Okay.
want to stop here for this session? It has been almost 2 hours.
Uh,
Maybe I feel a little bit tired, and I like to recollect all the things that we
Yeah.
yeah,
covered right now.
absolutely, as
Yeah.
you wish.
This is my impression so far.
Yeah.
First of all, it really, really helps to have some maps that you're still not seeing.
Right,
So the
right.
idea of
We will go and check
Yeah.
out Genoa. Believe me, I have every intention to do the research now.
Yeah, also because congrats to Adriano because this is a extremely scary scenario because you take real horror.
Yeah.
So when he told me 2001 is Genoa, yes, I had goosebumps
Yeah.
because again, if you know the history, all the background of police violence, then all the attempts of the state to cover up what happened, the witnesses of tortures and so on, and on top of that, the supernatural layer in the
Um,
plot, that's terrifying. So
yeah, I love the idea proposed by the Dangerous Prey supplement. So compare and contrast with your idea of the unbeaten. So if the unbeaten is something that revels in decadent art, use something that a setting that enhances or in a way that contrasts this kind of and it really helped. I'm not sure if I got some of the rules correct, and some of them may influence the scenario, but we'll talk about this later.
It's not that important. We are in a learning curve.
Yeah, and
that
I
is
feel that one of the things that surprised me, I was, to be honest, I was panicking the night before because
I realized
looked
I realized that when I said, "Do you want some more advice?" and you sent me this paragraph, and I said, "If I say anything, it's just going to make it worse, so forget it."
But because there's something that strikes me is that the preparation for the sound is basic, simple. It's so simple. There are like three or four people that are maybe important, and then there are these factional things that are moving that I know because they are part of the setting that I'm not personally experienced, but I'm familiar with.
Yeah.
And so I was scared that the idea of prepping not so much would hurt the ant. And I was thinking about maybe I should have this and this complication and this and this. And I thought it won't work. It's just like creating poems for challenging the stalkers. But I'm not feeling that they're acting like people in the first place.
Right. And it's
And in the end, it really did work out. It really did work out because you really didn't need so much to track some things. Stalkers are really effectively proactive. The way they can track essence, or they can just
you don't have to orchestrate the hunt yourself.
Yes.
Right. You don't have to set it up. Okay, they will find this, and then this person will lie to them, and then this will, and if they go to the library, they will learn this. If they go to the bank, they will learn that. You don't have to worry about that crap.
Some of the events are created like this way. Like there's a person and he's having this kind of separate track, and I'll just roll with it. If you meet him, if you don't, okay, you missed an information. That's not a problem.
Exactly.
And I really focused on the idea of stepping away from the mystery game, like creating mysteries, but presenting the situation as clear as possible, just like one of the cities of Toxic Vineyard that I created. So something that is very clear from the beginning, so you can act however you like. And
I think that's extremely valid. Yeah, Alessio, did you want to say something?
No, I think it's been a good course of action because the horror, as I said, is enhanced by the fact that you know what's going to happen, you're terrified, but you have to go in this mass of pain, violence.
Truth to be told, I'm just waiting to use the rules of forbiddance because I feel that the moment you know, you will be at least compelled to do something that will involve this.
I think that's fine, and I also think that stalkers know that they always press the forbiddance a little bit. I mean, we can't be cowards about it, right?
Yeah.
And I was going to say too that one of the nice things I found about this game when I was a game master for it, and this was a long time ago. This was 25 years ago. Was I was at the time very concerned. Well, what about the personal horror? What about the personal drama? What about are the players going to feel it? I must make them feel it. And I quickly discovered that the players were kilometers and kilometers ahead of me.
Yeah.
I didn't have to worry about them bringing the horror and the drama of their stalkers into the situation. They were already there. They were way ahead of me. So I said, oh, well, I guess it's up to me to keep up with them, not for me to pull them, along. I don't have to tell anyone how to play their stalker. They are much better at it than I am. And so that was
exactly. No, perhaps Noah has other remarks, but for me it's been a really good game because as Ron was saying, my stalker is already invested in this situation. She's a victim of abuse. She has been a victim of being captured and being tortured and killed. She's already invested in the scenarios and quite empathetic. So I think we are going to see something extremely interesting. My character has lived something similar in her past, and she's going to try to improve things, but at the other end, she knows that what's going to happen is inevitable. So again, this enhances the horror. Says, yeah, I'm going to live again what I lived on my own skin, but I cannot do nothing besides stopping the beat. And for the rest of the people who will suffer whatever I do.
Yeah.
So I leave the word to Noah whether he has some remarks as well.
Nothing
terribly detailed. I mean, I'm having a lot of fun, and I'll echo that the game gives the players, it feels like, a lot of tools to kind of bring their own agenda to the situation. Like you don't have to engineer anything. And I mean, I think what struck me is that the keys, they're kind of almost mentioned in passing in the text. Like they're not a huge chunk of the game, but just having something that you can bring on screen when you want to manifest this interior thing, like that's really powerful, right? And it makes it a lot easier to bring in your stalkers like interiority.
This only really makes sense after you have played a few hunts. But when one of the players starts to consider to reduce their stalker, to have their stalker actually evolve into retirement, basically, to cease, that I have done enough. They lose their keys one by one, and after you have played a few hunts, then when somebody says, "And I'm losing this key," I mean the whole table feels it, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So it's pretty cool, in fact.
Yeah, it's a pretty. Sorry, because I love the game because I never heard of it, and it's a small gem. And yeah, also I'm having issues because I would like to buy the game, but it's not clear where I can find it legally. So either buying the books or the PDFs, because on Drive-Thru there are no files.
This one?
Yes,
I bought it on Lou, so it's a print on demand. It's quite
Yeah, it is legal. You can get it.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
which
it's
is
really,
which is
okay.
great, because I'm really happy about that, and maybe we can influence. I mean, I'm a little bit shocked in the last 4 years that for some reason there is now a huge community of people who all play Legendary Lives, which may have been one of the most obscure role-playing games, you know, before that point, but now it is a common point of discussion. So I hope that there's something like that will happen for the Whispering Vault.
Yeah, it's worth. It's a great game.
Yeah.
I think I would like to discuss is the. I believe that you already tweeted this in one of your labs. It's the role to know.
Yes.
The idea that we have a lot of role to know. In this case, like a history role, a deduction role, a perception role, and they're very different.
Yeah.
And
this is critical for this game in particular. Yeah.
Yeah. I felt that the history role was very easy to treat.
Yeah.
The moment you feel displaced, you feel that it's like I would say rolling the culture role in some games like RuneQuest.
Right.
So the idea that you're a fish out of water influences the idea that you can charm or intimidate or relate to someone you need to speak of. While the idea of the deduction role that you use to create some sort of informations was quite interesting. I'd like to discuss that because I wasn't sure how to treat it.
Yeah, I agree with you. And one thing that is important for me in a game like this, with these kinds of different attacks of information, is I don't want to override a failure.
Yeah.
So as far as I'm concerned, that's why I played my character still as a little bit unsure about the history. He never got a good history result. Right. So he's never, in my opinion, he's never going to, you know, unless there's some reason for a different history role in a completely different context. But for present, Hazard is not going to understand the history exactly. He understands the political dynamics and some idea. If he can get help from someone who did get the history, then I figure I could do some deduction. But it shouldn't. The deduction roll should not replace the failed history roll. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
So I was, and so I think that's important to say. A failed roll on one of those really needs to wall off certain behavior and information, at least for that character. I also like it because it means if the Grey Witch makes a history roll and I make a deduction roll, then the two of them can work together for a specific kind
Yeah,
of result.
exactly.
Right. But only if we talk to each other and only where the game master sees those two things coming together.
Yeah.
So what we fail, what we succeed at, and who does it should shape how we succeed, you know? And fortunately, we have lots of tools. We have the trackers, we have the foresight, whatever we could put together. But whatever we succeed at will give us a shape of our knowledge. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And whatever we fail at should also shape our knowledge, what we don't understand and will probably not understand for a given character. So I think that it can be very constructive as long as we don't fall into the trap of saying succeed your perception roll through the adventure. You know, we will just keep rolling until we get successes, and that
Yeah,
will
the idea
unlock
that
the
you're
next
gonna
step. Right? That's
bottleneck.
crap.
So the idea that you failed, and so the
Yeah.
scenario closes with what do you do now?
Right.
Since you failed this crucial role.
Exactly. Well, we can go ahead and read. I mean, a modern game that I just played this last summer that simply says the story is everything. If they fail a roll, say it's a success and give them a condition.
The famous reinterpretation of the fail forward.
Yes, exactly.
So-
But it is highly explicit in this game, which is called Vessen. It's a Swedish game. And I mean, there's a whole paragraph that does exactly this.
The horror one.
Yeah,
I have in mind which is.
Yeah. But it's really, really painful because it is, I mean, it's absolutely blunt that the dice are there for literally no reason at all. So
Yeah. Yeah, I have extremely mixed feeling about the Fail Forward because basically at this
I
point,
don't have mixed feelings at all. It's terrible.
You just hate.
Well, no, mixed feelings in the sense that I see the point if you play that game because you want to see the protagonist succeed. In that case, you have tools like Benny's, fate points like Savage Words and Fate. But in that case, the more reasonable thing is saying, okay, it happens, you succeed without a roll, because if you roll the dice, you accept even extremely negative outcomes, so you fail a full stop period.
There is a problem with identifying the story with a procession through necessary successes and realizations. If you identify story as it's like the people who think, now I know this movie's out of date, but it's a very good example. In discussing this with students, for example, when I was talking about the movie The Bourne Identity, which is a very straightforward action movie, it's not really but it's very easy. That's the point. And if you talk to the students about, let's identify the problems or the the conflict of the movie, etc., and they start talking about, well, this guy can't remember, he has this amnesia, he's trying to remember, and that's not the conflict of the movie. He remembers more and more and more with every single scene. It just happens. He can't help it. He just remembers more and more and more with every single scene. That's inevitable. He's going to get his memory back. The question is, what is he going to do when he knows enough? Up until then, it is just pro forma action scenes. The movie doesn't have any kind of conflict until he knows enough to decide what he's going to do. So the conflict is not how does he regain his memory. Oh, he's going to roll, right? It's a role-playing game. He will roll to regain his memory. He will roll to regain his memory, right? Oh no, he failed his roll. Well, shit, I guess we have to stop. Right? This is all bullshit. It's a complete misunderstanding of what a story even is.
Yeah.
So it's a mistake of the tropes of action scenes and finding clues and calling that a story. Those are tropes. They are not story steps at all. And I would point in that movie. In fact, I would point to the moment when the assassin, who is very much like him, is dying and talking to him. And Bourne is still trying to figure out, his own memories. and the guy is saying, he's dying, and he asks him, he says, "Do you get headaches? I get such terrible headaches." And then just before he dies, he says, "Look what they've done to us." And it is exactly that time that Bourne turns around and stops running.
Mm.
You see, it is those interactions which are story.
Mm.
And so for us, there's the point where our stalkers are directed and are together. There may come the times when the stalkers actually disagree. When the stalkers say, I remember in our game, one of the stalkers said, "You know what, we can repair the Enigma, but we need to seal this off as a Shadowlands because these people are happy. And I want these people to stay happy in this Shadowlands. The Unbidden made these people happy. I want them to be happy. I want to know that they are in their bubble of reality and will stay happy." And the other stalkers are like, "What are you talking about? This is terrible. We have to completely repair all of this." And he's saying, "Fuck you." So it can be actually pretty interesting once the stalkers become more developed as characters and we see each other and the different values. I think the game is surprisingly deep for this. I don't even know if the author ever experienced this in play or whether they had some kind of romance, some sort of White Wolf type romance that there will be drama someday.
Yeah.
Right? I don't know. But for us anyway, it became very powerful in play. So
Yeah, you see that you have tools to
Yeah.
make it, because sometimes you play these games and say, yeah, okay, heroic or extremely emotional games,
Right.
and then
Right.
you don't have any kind of tool as a player to bring this into the game.
Right. Well, you get to. I mean,
quite
it tells
frustrating.
you. It tells you. You feel. I was just reading into the vampire rules that we are playing later today, and it's all about. Well, if you commit diablerie, you will feel guilty. You will feel terrible. You know it's wrong. And I'm reading it and saying, actually, that looks like the most fun thing in the game. I mean, if I was playing a vampire, the first thing I would do is diablerize the first asshole that I come across. I mean, it's what else would I do? Oh, you will feel terrible. It's like cannibalism. I'm already a fucking predator. I feed on people.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. So it's it to me, I find that the text telling me what I'm supposed to feel doesn't work.
Mhm.
Right. So and I think that that's the problem with these overly theatrical games is that they tell you, "Oh, now you're a good actor, right? Now you can show how well you can act. Feel grief, make your grief face. Feel rage and frenzy, make your frenzy face." And it's kind of like, "Oh, come on, I don't need acting 101." So I'm looking up something here, though. I don't mean to take everybody's time. I'm sorry.
No, absolutely.
There is some text in here, as I recall. I'm not sure where it is, and it's been a long time since I read this. There is some text that I found very, very authentic. The book is kind of nice. It never treats the players as though they are incapable of doing this. Right? There's no thing for the GM, make sure the players feel this. Try to invoke this in the players. There's no language of this kind at all in this. It looks like a White Wolf clone, but that language, that attitude of the storyteller taking care of the drama, it's never there in this book. And I think there's some language, I was just looking for it, but it's been too long. There's some language which is very powerful about the authenticity of the player's feelings when they feel it. Not making them feel it, but if and when they feel it, which I thought was pretty good.
Yeah, I think it's kind of wonderful how the one-shot nature of the game kind of assumes that the players are going to create their stalkers independently without the group, and the first thing it tells you to do is to imagine a person and turn them inside out, and then that's going to be your appearance, which is that's a big creative leap to ask, and it's really thrilling to go through that process.
the inspirational images are quite helpful for that as well.
Yeah. The Stalkers in the book are incredible.
Yeah, the art is great, actually.
Yeah.
I really
In fact, to be a sort of indie product when it was released, and most of the supplements have been released as indie PDFs on drive-through at the beginning is quite impressive because the quality is similar to a White Wolf product.
Right.
Yeah.
To be honest, I was looking forward to add a Pain Mother to this scenario just for the thrill of having this kind of dominatrix.
Yeah. No, there's a few. I mean, I have to tell myself, look, I cannot put one of those TV shadows everywhere. Not everywhere has televisions. They're just too cool.
Yeah.
Right. Well, anyway, I have to go. Thank you, everybody.
Yeah, me too. Thank you for the game, Adriano.
Will we meet next Tuesday, I hope?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
We'll.
Excellent.
Sounds great.
Goodbye, everyone.
Yeah. Have a good day. Bye.